Welcome to the I Am the Worst Parent Ever podcast with Nicole Merritt and Dr. Robert Zeitlin.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Robert. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I'm really excited for you.
Oh, thank you. For what?
I'm excited because I saw your article about the 32 things that you've learned in 32 years get all over the place. I saw it on the Today Parents page. I saw it all over. I saw Kathy Hoda pick it up. I thought it was a great piece, and I'm really excited that you got so many people to read it.
Oh, thank you so very much. Yes, so thrilling, so exciting. I didn't think I would see it in all those places. I actually wrote it almost a year ago on my 32nd birthday, and it was one of those. It was not like a planned article. It was just like a Facebook status update, and I was just like, you know what? It was like my birthday morning. I was sitting there having my coffee, and I'm like, all right, here's some. I just wanted to write it out, like 32 things that I've learned, like just little nuggets of knowledge. But it's funny, and of course, you know, when your words get shared on a bigger platform, you're gonna get just naysayers or, you know, people that don't enjoy it, which is fine. You don't have to enjoy everything I say, but you know, I got some comments that were like, "You're 32. What do you know?"
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess. One thing, I almost responded to one of them. I was going to use humor and like find this funny thing and respond, and then my husband was like, "Why? Like, you don't need to. You know, you don't need to."
Right.
It got me thinking. Do you ever think that you are too old to learn a lesson, or do you think that some can be too young to teach you a lesson?
I don't. But I also know that we're surrounded by people who know everything they ever need to know. And I just had this immediate response when someone says, like, "You're just 32. What do you know?" I'm like, read the article. Here's 32 things that I know. You're not saying you know everything.
Right.
You're just saying, here are some things. And as we both know, when you put stuff out there, you know, 98% of people like it and 2% of people don't. And if it's just 98 people and 2 people, then you just hear those 2 little responses. But if it's a few hundred people, then you get a few more responses, and then they start to sting more.
Right.
I don't think you're ever too old to learn. My father-in-law still goes to class, sits in college classes and audits classes in his late 80s. We talked in a prior episode about the things that we've learned from our kids this summer. They're little teachers for us. It's amazing. So I think it's awesome what you shared, and I think it's courageous to do that at 32 and not be like, I've achieved, you know, the wisdom of the ages, and now I feel free to like impart them.
Right, and it's funny because one of my little tidbits was that, like, you never find yourself like your 85-year-old father-in-law is probably still finding himself, still finding out things he likes about himself, or ways he wants to improve, or a hobby he wants to tackle. Obviously, the same goes for young children that just see the world as their oyster. But yeah, somebody, you know, the response is when I say, okay, here's an opinion, here's a lesson, or you and I on our podcast, every time we do it, it's not saying this is the be all end all word, but here's, you know, from an average mother of 3, you know, here's my thinking, and that's all it is. So I think there's something to be said for listening to the stranger in line behind you that's offering up, you know, an advice on something, or the checkout cashier at Publix. You and I have talked so much just about the life buffet that's out there, and the different perspectives and beliefs and opinions. And I don't care if it comes from a 12-year-old boy or you know, an 80-year-old man. Like, listen, because there might be a little tiny piece of that you can pick up and use.
Right. And there's 2 pieces of this I want to emphasize. One is the fact that you put it out there puts you in a unique category. There's a lot of people that are very scared to share what they're thinking and think, they let those voices in their head say, oh, it's not important, or no one will read it, or I'll get criticized, stop them from doing what you did. And I've given you a lot of praise over the time that we've worked together and before for being someone courageous enough to put their stuff out there. You've clearly been that person. But the other part is, I think, when I think about the 12-year-old boy, when you said 12-year-old boy, I thought there are a lot of like annoying teenagers that you kind of like, kind of want to block out. But there's something you can almost learn from everyone. And I think here's the big challenge is, and the challenge that maybe your critics failed a little bit. What would it be like if I was in your shoes? Would I do the same thing? If I had the same view on the world, if I had the same perspective as a mom of 3, you said average, I'm going to avoid that word. There's nothing average about what you're doing. If I had the same fears, if I had the same hopes, if I had the same experiences, I would bet that we would come out with a similar outcome. If that annoying 12-year-old, I see a lot of teenagers in my practice too, that's sort of like the kid that pushes you away in a lot of different ways, actually has something to teach you. One way to get there is to work really hard to see the world from their shoes. Right.
And do you know that a person taking the time to see that annoying 12-year-old boy in another light and want to be open eyes and open ears on him, he might retract from being so annoying. He might have been doing that, as like a give me attention. I've got stuff to say. Like when you finally see somebody as like, you're not, I'm going to see you as a person. I'm not going to see you as a kid. I'm just going to see you as a person with ideas and with feelings. To have that recognized in you, I mean,
yeah.
Big deal.
And I think there are big times in our lives, and sometimes being a teenager is one of those times where our inner critic is just winning. It's just saying, I have to push people away because there's nothing likable about me, or I have to be even more mean because that's really, the only way people see me. And like you're saying, if you can break through that, whether it's a teenager, whether it's your neighbor who's going through a tough time, whether it's someone who's on the edge of doing something like you've done and sort of breaking out and sharing things with the world, but it's just like eating them up right before they're ready to do that. Right. Being able to see them, being able to connect with them, being able to see through that piece really is a superpower. It's really powerful. That ability to empathize, the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes can connect you with someone, not the outside appearance of what they're giving you, but the inside of what's going on inside them.
Right. All this got me thinking. So I've written an article that I haven't published yet, but it's about basically I was with my youngest, who at the time was maybe like 6 months old, and we went to Target, and I had her in the car seat inside of the wagon. She was resting, whatever. She woke up, and I gave her a bottle, and I kind of like propped it up, and she was feeding herself so that I could continue to do my shopping. And an elderly lady stopped me and said, you should really feed your baby. Like, you should be feeding the baby. And then I was so just taken aback and kind of, aggravated. Like, I'm teaching her a life skill. She needs to learn to hold her own bottle. She's fully capable of it. I need to get stuff done. Like, she's my third kid. I do feed her. We do have that connection.
Right.
But why you felt the need to say something to me? But I said, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I feed her. And then we went about our day. But am I a hypocrite for not wanting, I don't know, to heed the advice or be welcoming of the advice of a critic? Does it matter where the person is coming from? Are they coming from? And that's what I kind of get to in the article. Like, I doubt she knew she was being, kind of judgmental or hurtful to me. But does that matter? Like, does it matter where the person's coming from who's trying to teach you the lesson?
Yeah, I guess I think it does. I think, getting back to what I just said about understanding their worldview, like where they're coming from, which I think is a way of making it, of changing how it feels when someone criticizes. Like, I had a challenging conversation yesterday, and I really worked hard to say, if I was in this person's shoes, I would probably be doing the same thing. I think it's really hard to get there. People work in toxic cultures, or they deal with family members that are sort of full of advice or full of criticism or negativity. And it's like, wow, I don't know if I woke up and went to sleep in her shoes a number of times, not to mention her whole life,
Right.
that I wouldn't feel like that. And I might not let it out on other people. I didn't like that she did that. But yeah.
Right. But that just requires, and that's the thing, so many of us throughout the day, we're so tired just from all the stress and the weight of the world, that whether we're dealing with our children or a stranger or our spouse or whoever that is offering up advice, like, we don't want to take, that takes time and energy and me thinking to put myself in your shoes and in the moment.
It does. It does. And I also don't want to sound like, you should just be a doormat and take everything. You're still entitled from where you are, having woken up and gone to sleep in your shoes for 32 years,
right,
to react the way you're supposed to react, and react the way it's natural to. It's human to. We're responsible for our own reactions. An 8-year-old told me the other day, I'm responsible for my own actions. I'm like, yes, you are, but you're also human. And you know what? You may be tired of apologizing for doing things, but it's okay. Like, being human and apologizing, that's all learning too. Right.
And I mean, these lessons start from such a young age. Like, was it Monday? I can't remember, but one day, and I'm about to say, we forgot my son's backpack. Now that he's in the oldest of his preschool, like, it's not, he's been taught, and I've told him, this is not your backpack, and your folder is not mommy's responsibility. Now this is becoming your responsibility. But I almost just, even to you, said, we forgot his backpack, because it feels like it's my responsibility. But you learn that kind of from the beginning, and we had to have that. Like, we got to school, and I was like, where's your backpack? And he's like, and I was like, and he started to bawl, like, he started to cry. And I was like, if we run home really fast, we can get it, but we got to go right now. But he worked through it, and I was like, but if we don't go home, it's going to be fine. Like, you're going to be okay. Yeah. And he's like, no, we don't have to go. And he was okay, and he survived it. But it's like, you have to have those things happen, or you wouldn't learn the lesson.
Yeah, sometimes, unfortunately, that's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
I remember trying to learn all 50 capitals in 3rd grade, and the one capital that I forgot is the one I will never forget again.
We could never have, like, a geography, like, don't go there with me, because
let's not talk geography.
No, it is like the running joke, and like, yes.
I have a different question for you that has nothing to do with geography. You said you have this article that you've half written, it's about your experience in Target and the woman telling you should feed your baby.
Yeah.
You put out this article on your 32nd birthday. It was an idea. It turned into a comment on Facebook, and then it became an article. And now, like, hundreds of people have read it, maybe more, thousands, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are there articles that you have half written that you're hesitant to share?
No. I mean, I haven't. I mean, I've been hesitant to.
I've never been more proud of you, Nicole. I love that answer.
No. I mean, yes, there's some where I've hit publish, or like, I've hit whatever and publish and been like, uh-oh, like, and I'll text like my mom, and I'm like, Mom, there's a curse word in the article, like, so there's definitely ones where I feel a little uneasy that, did somebody, when I go to pick up, somebody's going to have read it and kind of think differently of me and things like that. But no, you and I have talked about it. Like, for me, it's so just like, kind of like it's like a release, like I hit publish, and it's like, oh, I feel good. Like,
that's great.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it's hard doing what you're doing and not having a shelf full of, like, I don't know if I should send these, half-baked, baking experiments. That's awesome that you're feeling comfortable putting it, not always comfortable, able to hit publish. able to ship.
But
I think that's.
And I'll tell you, the kind of just do it attitude is a lesson from my kids. I recall recently I went to this kind of mommy blogger comedy show sort of thing, right? And there was a chance that they were going to call people up on stage. And so all day, not that I would get picked, but I kind of wanted to, but I kind of didn't want to. And I had these like butterflies in my stomach all day. And my son said both my son and my daughter were like, just do it. You're a rock star. Like, just do it. So like, talk about a lesson. Like, here's my kids telling me to like swallow those butterflies and just do it. So I think, I swear I learn more from them than I teach them.
That's awesome. That's awesome that they have that faith in you, that they see that light in you. It's really cool. Really cool. I have to say I have that at home too. And it's so heartening. And they're my biggest fans, but also like they're just a prototype of the kind of fans that I'm growing and gaining out there, you included. And I really appreciate the positive things you said about the things I've made and created. But it's exciting when your kids say that. It's really, they see you, that like you've said before, like you've written before. They don't see all the things we see in the mirror. They see just the beauty, the power, the rock star. It's really cool.
Yeah. They don't see the belly fluff. They just see what they like to squish when they hug you.
Right. Exactly.
No, but it would be cool if anybody that's listening, like, what are some lessons that your kids have taught you? What is it that they do every day that makes you like, man, I should be more like that? Because I guarantee you there's so much. And tell them, here, you've helped me with this. You've taught me that lesson. You know how powerful that's going to make them feel, how confident. I think it would be great.
Yeah, I agree. And before we give out the information, how to share it, I think your kids look at you like you're a rock star and say you're a rock star because you've made them feel that way. They know what it feels like and they feel like rock stars themselves. That's the only reason they could say that to you. It's really cool.
That's an awesome way. Thank you. That's awesome.
So if you do have any listeners or viewers, if you do have experiences to share, things you've learned from your kids, or you have any questions for us you want to try to have us answer in a future episode, you can email us at worstparentpod@gmail.com. We're open to all your questions and comments. We will reply personally, and we'd love to have some questions to talk about in a future episode, so feel free to email us.
And here's hoping you have a day full of more lessons, Robert. I'm sure I will.
I guarantee I will, and I wish the same to you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the I Am the Worst Parent Ever podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss an episode.